in the New Hampshire primary. What can we expect? For that, we turn to Democratic strategist Spencer Critchley and chairman for the Committee to Defend the President, Ted Harvey. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
Spencer, your party needs to recover from Iowa. New Hampshire, of course, is the big showing. The crazy story now has become between this intense competition between Sanders and Buttigieg. And remember, Sanders beat Hillary Clinton in this primary 4 years ago. What do the tea leaves tell you today?
Yeah, you know, Sanders is a really strong campaigner, and he keeps, I think, surprising people who want to write him off. It happened in 2016. It appears to be happening again this time around. 538 had him at about a 50% forecast of probability of winning the nomination. That seems to have dipped a little bit to around 40%, and we shouldn't put too much faith in forecasts like this, of course, because anything can happen, as we have found repeatedly, especially in primaries. But yeah, Sanders is strong. At the same time, Buttigieg is also very strong and, of course, represents the more moderate wing of the party. I think what they both have in common is a really strong core sense of who they are, and voters are just hungry for authenticity, way beyond ideology. What matters to them is they want somebody they can trust to fight for them. And I think both of those candidates project that in their own different ways. Well,
you know, it's interesting because we're looking at this latest Quinnipiac poll, and, you know, obviously in the New Hampshire primary, but in the national poll as well, Sanders is ahead of Joe Biden. And Ted, you know, this is an interesting turn of events for Joe Biden. Obviously, the concern is, will he start to lose donors if he doesn't show strong in New Hampshire? And does this mean that his campaign is really in trouble?
Well, I think his campaign's been in trouble for months now. I've been saying that he won't make it through the Super Tuesday.
Remind me why, Ted?
Well, I think that he is getting on in age, and he's not doing as well as he has been in the past. But I also think that the Ukraine impeachment fiasco that the Democrats are trying to use to bring down Trump is actually going to backfire on them and bring down Biden. So I think he's going to be hurting going into Super Tuesday, and I think that opens up a huge door for Michael Bloomberg to come forward with all of his billions of dollars that he's been spending in the Super Tuesday states to jump into the lead. And as you were saying earlier, he's jumped into third place in the national polling. So I think after these primaries in these 4 states, nobody's going to come out as a leader. They're all going to be marked up. They're all going to be doing everything they can to run to the left as far as they can, and they're not going to be electable, and they're going to be out of money, and that's going to leave open a door for Michael Bloomberg to jump into the lead.
Well, let's pick up on that, Spencer, the issue of Michael Bloomberg. He has spent, to Ted's point at this moment, $300 million on advertising across the country. He's spending big money in big states like California, Texas. That, of course, is Super Tuesday. That is March 3rd. Bloomberg also got 3 write-in votes of the 5 that were cast at midnight in the first primary in New Hampshire. What do you make of the Bloomberg surge?
It's really impressive. I just want to say quickly in passing that the impeachment thing wasn't a fiasco. It was a constitutional duty. And the story about Biden and Ukraine, this fictional story, is just going to make him stronger, I think, because it's Russian propaganda.
Wait and see.
The Bloomberg surge, I think, is really an example of a very smart candidate who has a great story. Money won't do it by itself, as we're seeing with Tom Steyer, also a strong candidate, but look at the difference with Bloomberg. I've seen some of what Bloomberg's doing, including at a Bloomberg event in Monterey recently. It was very, very impressive. And I think if we look at one of the lessons from President Trump's election was that a lot of people on both sides of the aisle are sick of the system as it is. They were looking for somebody who was an effective businessman who could shake things up and bring competence to bear. And Mike Bloomberg is that for real instead of for pretend. So I think he's got a very strong story to tell there.
And Ted, I want to pick up on that with you because, you know, the parallels to President Trump here, who again had a strong rally. He's got strong support in New Hampshire. The economy is doing really well. We're looking now at new information that the economy is strong. Americans are more confident about the economy. We'll talk about that later in the show, Ted, but that economy seems to be powering ahead this president. Is Michael Bloomberg the business answer on the Democratic side to President Trump?
Well, I definitely think he is going to energize the base of the Democrat Party that are moderate and the unaffiliated voters that are moderate that might be able to vote in some of these swing states. But I think in the end, it is the president's policies that are going to win out. He is revolutionizing the economy. He is going out there and setting new trade policies with China, with Mexico, with Canada. He is winning these efforts on behalf of the American people and the American workers, and I think he's going to be rewarded with that. But I'll make a prediction right here. I will bet that Bloomberg will win the nomination, and I'll bet that he will pick Hillary Clinton as his running mate. And if he does that, that'll be a formidable ticket for the Democrats going into November.
Okay, well, she has said she didn't want to do that, but you know what, Ted Harvey, you're on tape, so we're going to keep this, and we're going to bring it up with you later, sir. Ted, Spencer, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We're going to talk more, obviously, about how confident Americans are in the economy. Thanks, guys.